Woo-wee, that was one relaxing vacation. We lost 17 Memphis. Exactly how is that a relaxing vacation? Because it's less than we lost the last time. By halves! Anywho, let's go ahead and check up on... Oi! Oh, wait, what? Oh, don't do that. So, how did Numerology episode 4 go? He didn't do it, did he? No, he didn't. Oh, no, guys, I can explain here. No time like the present, you know what they say. So go ahead and get that done with while we go on ahead and unpack. You want him to do it here? Well, it might not be somewhere fancy, but, you know, it'll do. Right? Right, sir. Yes, I'm right on it right now. Hello, YouTube land. This is the Memphis XLR8 here coming at you live from my house. In here today, we are going to be concluding numerology, the study of the numbers with numbers 76 to 100. Enough said, let's get things started. Popping out of the grave right in time for Halloween, we've got number 76, Bone Snapper, a dark zombie with 2400 attack and 0 defense, requiring 2 level 4 zombies. His effect being that once per turn, you attach material from this card and destroy cards on the field equal to the number of face-up zombie-type monsters that are on the field. And when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add a zombie monster from your graveyard to your hand. So all zombies bow down to your new ruler because Bone Snapper is the new piece of support zombies have been looking for. Zombies don't have a lot of mass destruction capability, but Bone Snapper here allows you to destroy up to 10 cards on the field, and it makes for a very interesting combo with a card like Zombie World, which turns your opponent's monsters into zombies, allowing for even more destruction. It's just great. Summoning is no problem as long as you use something like Zombie Master, and its recovery effect not only allows you to fetch back your important zombie monsters, but in a pinch you can add Bone Snapper back to your deck in order to summon it again. So this is just a wonderful piece of zombie support. Slipping out of the extra deck to cause mass pain and chaos, we've got numbers 77, the 7 Sins. A Dark Fiend monster with 4000 attack, 3000 defense, using 2 level 12 monsters, his effect being, this card can also be Exceed summoned using a rank 10 or 11 Dark Exceed monster. In that case, it gets that monster's Exceed materials. However, if it's summoned this way, it cannot use this effect this turn. That effect being that you can attach 2 materials to banish as many special summon monsters your opponent controls as possible, and then attach one of those monsters to this card as a material, and should number 77 be destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can attach a material instead. So yeah, number 77 is just this amazingly useful card. I mean, it's got a huge body, it's got mass banishment, which is one of the best removal options in the game. It protects itself from being destroyed all on its own, and it's, on top of all of this, it has its own restackability. I mean, nothing to shit on here. 7 Sins is a serious threat. So if you've got the option to make 2 level 12s on the field, or more specifically a rank 10 or 11 Dark Exceed monster, go ahead and throw a couple of these in. And he goes right there with numbers 35 and 70. That's 3 spiders, but there's one more member we've got to go. Pull up a chair and grab yourself a book, because it's number 78, Numeron Archive, next on the list. A light spellcaster with 0 attack and defense, meaning 2 level 1s, his effect being, once per turn to either player's turn, you detach material, and your opponent chooses 1 card randomly from your extra deck, and if it's a number between 1 and 99, you summon it using number 78 as the Exceed material. However, you banish it during the end phase, and also you cannot special summon during this turn. And the high from the first 2 monsters has been broken. Granted, number 78 does have some uses, however, let's all address the elephant in the room. Although number 78 can summon any other number monster from your extra deck, almost no cost, this requires your opponent to randomly choose one of the cards in your extra deck. So if they pick, say, another 78, it's not so good. If they pick something that's not a number, it means you get nothing. So this card forces you to run exclusively number monsters, and the other problem being that once you summon a monster using this effect, you cannot, say, re-overlay it like our dear friend number 77 just a minute ago, and so the use is limited. The only reason you would use 78 that I can figure is if you're studying it up with our old friend Agulas, the vampiric dragon. Run only if you really feel like it. Next up, we got a 1-2 punch in the form of number 79, Battling Box, Nova Kaiser, or Caesar, however you want to pronounce that. He's a fire warrior with 2300 attack, 1600 defense, needing 2 level 4 monsters. His effect is that once per turn, you can attach a Battling Boxer from your hand or graveyard to this card as a material. It has 100 attack for every material attached to it, and when it's destroyed, you can special summon a level 4 lower Battling Boxer monsters from your graveyard equal to the number of materials it had on the field. So yeah, Nova Caesar has great utility for this low-cost monster. 2 level 4s is something Battling Boxers are easily able to do. The fact that they can attach more materials is just great for 2 reasons. One, it gives your monster more attack, even though the attack boost on this thing is kind of mediocre. But best of all, every material attached to this monster equals more monsters when Caesar leaves the field. So either your opponent's not going to be destroying this thing all willy-nilly unless they got like multiple cases of mass destruction, or you can ram Caesar into your opponent's monster, take a little damage, yes, but you are going to be summoning a whole field full of monsters. So yeah, this thing is key to Battling Boxer comebacks. It extends your plays. I'd say run at least 2 of them. Here to sing you a little song, we've got number 80, Rhapsody in the Berserk.
Bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle.
A dark fiend monster with 0 attack and 1200 defense. Needs 2 level 4s. Its effect is you can target a face-up exceed monster you control, equip this card to it, and it gains 1200 attack. You can detach a material from this card to banish a card from opponent's graveyard, and use this effect up to twice per turn. So yeah, Rhapsody in Berserk has been a very relevant rank 4 monster in many a rank 4 focused archetype and deck for many years. This attach effect allows you to boost up your main monster by a fat 1200 attack, but the real meat on the bone here is the banishing effect. So many decks these days rely on the graveyard to do so many things, and the fact that Rhapsody in Berserk allows you to straight up banish 2 of their cards is just phenomenal. The only downside is now with links. Summoning Rhapsody in Berserk and another Exceed monster is a bit trickier. However, with the right setup, it still works. So feel free to run at least 1 copy of Rhapsody in Berserk if you have the room for a rank 4 Exceed monster. Firing on all cylinders, we've got number 81, Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon, Super Dora. No, stop, don't play any more music, we can't afford the copyright strike, don't do it. Anyway, Dora is an Earth Machine with 3200 attack, 4000 defense, needing 2 level 10 monsters. Its effect, pretty simple. Detach a material to target a monster you control, and it's unaffected by other effects until the end phase. So yeah, Dora is this fantastic boss monster for the quote-unquote railway archetype. It's easy to summon, you just need 2 level 10s, and that's just what railways do. And yeah, any deck that can, use 2 level 10s, like, I don't know, Gishkis can even use this thing. The ability to be completely immune to any card effect is very relevant today, and the fact it's a quick effect, so it dodges Raigekis, bottomless trap holes, Stormforth, all sorts of things. And on top of that, it's got this beautiful 4000 body, making it big enough to fend off most decks' boss monsters. Run 2 or 3 at your preference. Not sure what the key is for, but next up we got number 82, Heartland Draco. An Earth Dragon with 2000 attack and 1500 defense, and need 2 level 4 monsters. Its effect is, while you control a face-up spell card, or multiple spell cards, this card cannot be targeted for attacks, and you detach material to allow Heartland Draco to attack your opponent directly. However, other cards cannot attack during the turn you use this effect. So yeah, Heartland Draco is a good rank 4 monster. It works really well if you pump it up with equips like Axe of Despair, United We Stand, etc. Look at that Thug Life right going in there. The direct attack is just phenomenal, because if you get both attacks off, then that's a fat 4000 damage. Cut your opponent's life points in half. and that's without equips. And what's beautiful is if you do give this monster an equip spell, that means your opponent can't attack it, so they're going to have to waste their cards on destroying it through other means. This card works best in a deck like Crystal Beast, which always count as face-up continuous spells when they get destroyed, so go ahead and run at least 2 of them. Coming at you live from beyond the veil, we've got number 83, Galaxy... Okay, guys, let's all calm down here. Kuriboh, I'm warning you. And that is why you don't screw with the Memphis XLR8. Anyway, back to the review. We've got number 83, a Galaxy Queen, a dark spellcaster with 500 attack and defense, meaning 3 level 1s. And once per turn, you attach a material until your opponent's next end phase. Your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle, and your monsters gain a pierce attack. Okay, now I'm starting to see why those Kuribohs were a little upset. So, yeah, you could either run this Galaxy Queen monster that needs 3 level 1s on the field in order to be summoned, in order to protect your monsters from battle, or you could not be a total what's-it and just run Waboku. This monster is just a major contrast between a defensive monster and an offensive monster. Because on the one hand, it protects your monsters from being destroyed by battle, but then it gives them pierce attack. So am I supposed to attack with it or not? I mean, if this thing protected your monsters from being destroyed by card effects, it would be a total boost to any sort of offensive deck that can field 3 level 1s. If it protected the monsters from being destroyed by battle or card effects, it would be a total boost to defensive decks. So I'd just go for Lionheart instead of this thing. Next up on the list, we've got number 84, Pain Gainer. A dark insect with 0 attack and defense, needing 2 level 11 monsters to summon. Its effect is that it can also be Exceed summoned using a rank 8, 9, or 10 Dark Exceeds monster. This card gains defense equal to the combined ranks of all Exceeds monsters you control times 200. While it has materials, your opponent takes 600 damage every time they play a spell or trap card after it resolves. And you detach a material from this card to destroy your opponent's monsters with defense less than or equal to this card's. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the 4th member of the Spider Shop Quartet. The overlay effect of this card can be splashed into any deck that can make a rank 8, 9, or 10 Dark Exceed monster. The burn damage is fairly decent. I mean, a lot of decks use a lot of spell traps, so that usefulness is a bit questionable, but it still works. But the mass destruction is the cherry on top of this monster. A lot of big boss monsters don't always have a lot of big boss defense points. Although with links now you can't have multiple exceeds very easily, so there's that again. Damn it, I keep bringing up links. Why do the links have to screw up so many numbers? It's crazy. Crazy for you. It screwed up a bit, but the re-overlaying effect doesn't go against the new rules, so that means you can still do this as many times as you want. So go ahead and run this thing alongside numbers 35, 77, 70 if you feel like it. Here's a gamble worth anybody's time with number 85, Crazy Box. A dark fiend with 3,000 attack, 300 defense. You need 2 level 4 monsters, his effect being he cannot attack. Okay. Once per turn, you can roll a 6-sided die and then apply the appropriate result. A 1, half your life points. 2, draw a card. 3, your opponent discards. Okay. 4, negate the effects of a face-up card on the field until the end phase. 5, destroy 1 card on the field. Yep. 6, destroy this card. Yeah. So, you know, I've said before, I love me some gamble cards, and this thing's a staple in a gamble deck if I ever did see one. It's got a very useful set of effects, that being, you know, numbers 3, 4, and 5 mostly. Number 2 is alright. However, the downside of this card makes it questionable in a competitive deck, but an absolute treat in a gamble deck. Can you just imagine just throwing this out 2 or 3 times a duel? I mean, I would do it all the time. I do it all the time. When I play my gamble deck, I always go for this thing first. Number 85 is just this fun, very fun card for casual play, and I highly recommend it next time you go out dueling. Go ahead, give it a roll. Give it a roll and you'll have some fun too. Next up, we got another monster with a lot of effects, that one being number 86, Heroic Champion Raman Ginyad, a dark warrior with 1500 attack and defense, needing 2 or more, max of 5, level 4 warrior monsters. This effect is during your opponent's end phase, you must detach a material from this card. It gains effect equal to the number of materials attached to it. If it has 1 or more, it can be destroyed in battle. 2 or more, it gains 1500 attack and defense. 3 or more, unaffected by card effects. 4 or more, your opponent cannot normal or special summon. And 5 or more, once per turn, you can destroy all the cards your opponent controls. So, geez, man, did Heroic Champions hit a boss monster of this caliber? This thing's absolutely insane. Bringing this thing out can bring anybody out of a bad situation. And the fact that Heroic Champions have their own built-in swarm with Heroic Champions Assault Halberd and 1,000 Blades, summoning Rum and Guinea out with at least 3 materials is not often that difficult. To add to that, his effects are just absolutely crazy. It's got 3 or more, he's unaffected. That's already good. On top of a 3,000, possibly 4,000 if you're running extra sword body. If you're preventing your opponents from normal or special summoning, that'll lock down almost anything. And the Raigeki plus Harpy's Feather Duster effect is I can't even think of what would happen if I had to go up against this thing with 5 materials. So, yeah, the only good thing is that this thing weakens every turn, so that's something. So yeah, you just gotta wait 3 turns, and then you can run over it. You'll live that long, don't worry about it. Run 3 of these in a dedicated heroic or rank 4 spam deck. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder with number 87, Queen of the Night. A water plant with 3,200 attack and 2,800 defense, eating 3 level 8 monsters. Her effect being once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach material, then activate one of these 3 effects. You can target a spell trap of your opponents, and while this card's face up on the field, it cannot be activated. You can target a face-up plant monster and flip it face down. And you can target a monster on the field, and it gains 300 attack. The fact that this is a quick play effect is really neat, but the effects are only so-so. Freezing spell traps is a good disruption effect if your opponent's playing a lot of battle traps. However, it doesn't work on, quick play things like Compulse or whatever. Flipping plant monsters face down can lead to some interesting plays or protect your plants from things like mirror forces or whatever if you don't manage to freeze them with the first effect. But the third effect is just whatever. 300 attack isn't going to impress anybody anywhere. The big body on this thing makes up for the high cost. So run 1 if you feel like you're confident in your ability to swarm the field with level 8 monsters. Looking far too confident in himself is number 88, Gimmick Puppet of Leo, a dark machine monster with 3,200 attack and 2,300 defense, hitting 3 level 8 monsters, and once per turn, if you have no spell traps, you can detach 1 material from this card and place a Destiny counter on this card. You cannot conduct your battle phase the turn you use this effect, and if this card has 3 Destiny counters on it, you win the duel. Uh-oh, it looks like someone's gonna get that lawsuit from the D heroes for stealing their counter name. Yeah, I'm already seeing so many problems with this thing. Number 88's effect takes way too long and prevents you from doing anything to protect it. The only way to make this thing work that I can think of would be to use cards like Forbidden Lance to protect your monster and keep counters, but that makes it susceptible to being destroyed because then it goes from a 3,200 beater into a 2,500 beater, so don't even bother running it. It's just a silly card. Here to screw with you all day long, we got number 89, Diabolicis, the Mind Hacker. A dark psychic monster with 2,800 attack and 1,200 defense. Needs 2 level 7s. His effect once per turn. You can detach a material from this card. Look at your opponent's extra deck and banish a card face down. At the end of the battle phase, if this card destroys a monster by battle, you can target a card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. And if your opponent's card is banished, except during the damage step, you can banish cards from your opponent's deck face down equal to their banished cards. You can only use this effect once per turn. Do you know what Diabolicis really reminds me of? Infection Buzz King. Yeah, I mean, it's right there. They got the same, feel. They got to do the same thing almost. I almost feel like they just looked at Infection Buzz King and thought, how can we change it ever so slightly and nobody will notice? Well, I noticed. Searching your opponent's extra deck for any card and then banishing it face down is one of the most disruptive extra deck things you can do to your opponent. Add to it the fact that it automatically starts banishing your opponent's deck every time you use this effect or whenever you destroy your opponent's monsters. And, add to all that, this is just this great tech card. It works in anything that works with level 7 monsters. Run 2 of this guy whenever he chances to come into the TCG. Coming into the final 10, we've got another of my creations. We've got number 90, Salvador, the Flame Charger. A fire beast monster with 2100 attack and defense, needing 3 level 3s. His effect is once per turn, you detach material from this card to inflict 400 damage to your opponent for every card in their graveyard. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard by battle a card effect, you can special summon one of its materials that was attached to it in face-up defense position. So there's some serious burn potential with Salvador. A lot of decks like to dump a lot of cards, so there's no problem with burning your opponent for at least 2,000 plus damage. And in the event that Salvador is destroyed, you can just straight up bring back one of his materials and then protect yourself or further your plays, whatever happens. The only downside I can see with Salvador is if you get hit in the face with a snowball. But other than that, Salvador, if this guy ever got made, that would be hilarious. If Salvador ever comes out, I would run at least 2 of this in some anti-meta or mill sort of support kind of deck. Zapping us from up high, we got number 91, Thunder Spark Dragon. A light dragon with 2500 attack, 2000 defense, needing 3 level 4 monsters. His effect being a once per turn, you can activate one of these effects. You can either detach 3 materials to destroy all other face-up monsters on the field, or 5 materials to destroy all cards your opponent controls. It takes a lot of effort to put 5 materials on Thunderspark Dragon. However, the Raigeki/Harpy Feather Duster combo effect that it has going can potentially win you games. So as you can see, sometimes the manga cards can really live up to the expectations. So, yeah, nothing much to say about Thunderspark. He's pretty good. Looking like the boss monster that he is, we've got number 92, Hard Earth Dragon. A dark dragon with 0 attack and defense, needing 3 level 9 monsters. His effect being that he cannot be destroyed in battle, and your opponent takes all the damage you would have taken from battles involving him. During your opponent's end phase, you can detach a material from this card to banish all your opponent's cards that were normal summoned, special summoned, or set this turn. And if it is destroyed with materials, you can special summon him back, and when you do, it gains 1000 attack for every currently banished card. So you can either jump through hoops in order to bring 3 level 9 monsters onto your field, or you can just use our good old friend number 53, Hard Earth, in order to turbo this thing out. I know what I'm going to do. The fact that this guy is almost a better number 54 Lionheart, which is something I never thought I'd say, makes this guy just serious trouble for anybody that's running into it. The fact that they can mass banish your opponent's cards, just once, mind you, I don't think you're going to be summoning those 3 level 9s with this thing, can completely disrupt your opponent's whole board, just wipe them all out, then just attack and do them for game. Its revival ability can make a formidable beater, but the effect contradicts the first effect, because you want Hard Earth to have less attack so that your opponent takes more attack. I mean, that's how Lionheart works. But yeah, just if you're going to go for 53, you have to run number 92. That's just how it goes. Oh, great. We've got another member of the Utopias with number 93, Utopia Kaiser. He's a light warrior with 2500 attack, 2000 defense, needing 2+ number exceed monsters with the same rank that both have materials. That's a lot of stuff you gotta do. So what does it do? Once per turn, you can special summon rank 9 or lower number monsters with 3000 or less attack that have different ranks from each other from your extra deck, up to the number of exceeds with different names attached to this card, but their effects are negated. Then detach a material from this card. For the rest of this turn, unless this effect is negated, you cannot special summon, and any battle damage your opponent takes becomes half, and when you control another number monster, this card cannot be destroyed. This thing is just an absolute pain to summon, especially with links, because you need to have 2 numbers with the same rank that have material face up on your field, so yeah, it's just ridiculous. Add to that, it's got mediocre stats, but the fact is, if you do somehow miraculously summon this thing out, you know, your opponent's basically screwed, because this thing just summons out all the things, including number monsters that have way more attack than Utopia Kaiser. Add to it that Utopia Kaiser has this innate protection that it can't be destroyed while you have one of these monsters on the field, means this is a legit monster. It's just a pain in the ass to summon the thing. So, it doesn't matter. Okay, seriously, Utopia, why did you need another boss monster? This is getting ridiculous. We already have to deal with lightning. Chilling you to the bone, we've got number 94, Crystal Zero. A water warrior with 2200 attack and 1600 defense. You need 2 level 5 water monsters. Her effect, pretty simple. During either player's turn, you can detach a material, then target a face-up monster on the field. Its attack becomes half its current attack till the end of the turn. Its shrink effect means it's going to get over some more, any monster that's got more attack than it, but the lack of this monster's attack means that it doesn't really make up for the cost of summoning the thing out. Run 1 if you really feel up to it. Looking like some sort of goo monster from the Black Lagoon, we've got number 95, Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon. He is a dark dragon monster with 4000 attack and 0 defense. He's 3 level 9 monsters. His effect. Oh, this card can also be Exceed summoned using a Galaxy Eyes Exceed monster. When this card is Exceed summoned, you can send 3 dragon monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard. Your opponent then banishes 3 monsters from their deck. You can detach a material from this card, and this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. Now, the re-overlay effect, plus the huge body on this thing, makes this card a very powerful tech choice in any rank 8 build that can make a Galaxy Eyes Exceed monster. The graveyard setup works great for, like, say, Blue Eyes decks, because they have a lot of monsters that work in the graveyard, and it's absolute joy when you force your opponent to banish their all-important monsters straight from the deck. Add to it its ability to attack twice. This card just sets you up for a major offense if they can possibly win you games. So, I'd run at least 2 of this card. Looking like a very hungry boy. We've got number 96, Dark Mist. A dark fiend with 100 attack and 1000 defense. Using 3 level 2 monsters, his effect being once per battle, during either player's turn, you can detach a material from this card, have the attack of your opponent's monster, and if you do, this card gains that same amount of attack. The attack boost of this card, being non-targeted, is a big boost for a very small monster. This boost is also very much permanent, so its attack is always going to be going up so long as it remains face up on the field. Also, I'm pretty sure I ran into this guy's cousin last time I was in South America, so that's the thing. Small world, isn't it? So make room for at least 2 of this thing if you're going to make a rank 2 sort of deck. Whew, last card of mine that I've created for this list. That is right, we've got number 97, Diasval, the Mad King. A dark fiend with 0 attack and defense, needing 4 level 1 monsters. His effect is that he's unaffected by other card effects while it has Exceed materials attached to it. Once per turn, you detach a material to special summon as many level 1 monsters from your graveyard to your side of the field as possible. This card gains 1000 attack for every face-up level 1 monster you control. Look out, Game of Thrones, because there's a real Mad King on the throne now. Swarming your field with some tiny mini-mons can be a very daunting task, unless, you're running Kuribohs, in which case summoning this thing is super easy. But once this guy's off, Diasval will not be leaving anytime soon, unless Kaijus are involved. Detaching a material will allow you to turn this guy from a 0 attacker to a 4000 beat stick in an instant. And if your attacking is not your aim, you can summon all these monsters back for more summoning. 4 monsters, that's a Link 4 monster. I think that's how that works. Something like that. So yeah, Diasval, make it work, Konami. I want to see this thing by the end of the year. Next up, we've got number 98, Antitopian, a dark warrior with 2000 attack and 2500 defense, needing 2 level 4 monsters. His effect being when any player's monster declares an attack and you detach material from this card, change that monster to defense mode. During either player's turn while this card's in the graveyard, you can target a Utopia monster on the field, special summon this card, and if you do, attach that monster to this card as a material, but you can only use this effect of Antitopian once per turn. Okay, Konami, are you seriously trolling me with yet another Utopia ripoff? Although this one being the total opposite of a Utopia. So, the Oddball Addiction Utopia lineup is clearly present here, but I guess this one makes sense because it's the total opposite of Utopia. Non-targeted defense shift is, good in battle. So-so. It works for a decent stall, if nothing else. But, what's a fun combo with this thing? If your opponent summons, like, Utopia the Lightning, after that thing runs over this guy, then they attack with something else, you just special summon Antitopian back and then steal their lightning. So, If you're worried about Utopia the Lightnings, go ahead and run one of these in your side deck, something like that. Go ahead. Next up is yet another dragon, a Utopia dragon, this being number 99, Utopic Dragon. A light dragon with 4,000 attack and 2,000 defense, being 3 level 10 monsters. Its effect being, he can also be Exceed summoned by discarding a rank up magic spell card and using a Utopia monster you control as material. Once per turn, you can target a number in the graveyard and special summon in defense position, but its effects are negated. And during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated that targets this card, you can detach a material to negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Really, Konami? Did Utopia really need another variant? Whatever. Anyway, Utopic Dragon is 3 level 10 cost, would have initially made this thing barely playable, but, you know, I guess Konami felt like they had to bring this thing out, so it gets this thing, its alternate summoning condition. That was just really, really easy to do. You just discard this rank up spell, use Utopia. Utopia only needs 2 level 4s. The fact that he can bring back numbers usually works best if you're running a bunch of Utopias. That way you can revive Utopia and then put on Lightning on the board. Ugh. Even though, that does still work with Lynx, because any revived Exceed would go to the main monster zone. So yeah, Utopia Dragon dodges Lynx. Of course it does. Topping it all off, this guy does protect himself from targeting, monster targeting, and that's about it. So, you know, bare bones protection, but it's still a 4,000 body, so whatever. And finally, here we are, the end of the list, the end of the series. Let's go out with a bang with number 100, Numeron Dragon. Oh, there's the Numeron Gate supporter we were looking for. He's a light dragon with 0 attack and defense, needing 2 number Exceed monsters with the same name and rank, and his effect being, once per turn, you can detach a material from this card. This card gains attack equal to the combined ranks of all Exceed monsters currently on the field times 1,000 till the end of your opponent's turn. When this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can destroy as many monsters on the field at a minimum of 1. Then each player sets a spell trap from the graveyard to their field, and when an opponent's monster declares an attack while this card's in the graveyard and you have no cards in your hand or the field, you can special summon this card. There was a potential for some seriously high attack on this thing before Lynx came out, but sadly now it's, at best, it's going to go 13,000 attack, which is still a pretty high number. Also, I like that this guy deters your opponent from destroying with card effects, seeing as doing so will nuke their field. Although, the fact is, when this guy comes back, he gives both players a spell trap. In which case, you know, your opponent might get back that one card they need to win. Although, he could also get you the card you win, so it's an interesting card. It's a very interesting card. Odd to it, the last minute protect your life points if you have no other cards is a neat effect. But the biggest downside to this card is Lynx once again ruin Numeron Dragon, because bringing out 2 Exceeds is just so much harder now. Phew! Finally, we have reached the end of Numerology. All 100 monsters that we got laid out for your viewing pleasure. I hope you've all enjoyed this little series of mine. Go ahead and give me a comment in the comment section on what you think of numbers. Maybe leave a like or a dislike depending on what you think of this series. Hey, maybe even consider subscribing. That would be pretty cool. And anyway, then I'll be seeing you guys. Oi. What? Evil, what's up? Memphis just told me to remind you not to do stupid things. Like, what exactly? Like forgetting some of the numbers.